Why I'm a passionate European is I haven't yet worked out how you can do that, but I have worked out that you can do it at the European level. In June this year, most of our fellow citizens won't vote, but there is an opportunity to vote for a unique feature in history. It is the first parliament in the modern age elected by people from 27 countries. It doesn't work as it should. It's a strange analogy, a strange beast. There isn't a European political class. There's a whole lot of things. But the fact that there is an attempt to have a supranational democratic structure, for all its faults, is actually really hopeful. Because if you want to try and find a way where those global forces are actually controlled, then actually that is the model and the hope for the future, even if it doesn't work now, and not the sort of UN model, because it is actually about respecting diversity and allowing people to come together and work, and actually trying to create a democratic level. And anybody who's had to do with the European Union probably becomes a more Eurosceptic about it. But the fact that it's there, the fact that we actually are, in June, you will hopefully go into a polling station and vote, does mean that there is a slight glimmer of me that we can find democratically a way of controlling those forces. Is that going to be easy? No. But I have not found a single alternative to dealing with globalization which can actually offer something. And therefore we're making democracy work at the level beyond the nation, I think, is the only option we have. And the only model for that in the entire world, which is showing any signs of working at all, is the European Union. And trust me, I'm not totally enamoured with it. Anybody who's applied for a European Union grant will know that it's a complete bugger. But if there is a hope, I think it's there.
If I may, that's a very single-pronged approach.
It's only because it's the only prong I understand and know. I'm not saying there aren't others, but building a democracy at a global level, for me, ultimately is the only way you're going to provide that control. Anybody else is attempted can do any other model they like, and if there are models which can work, I'd love to hear it. But for me, I have, the danger of trying to stop globalization is if we're not careful, we sound a bit like King Canute. We wish it wouldn't happen. Well, unfortunately, I look around my house, most of it's made in China or India. I mean, the clothes I wear, the things, etc.
I'm careful to say corporate,
yeah,
because corporations are inherently not things that actually benefit humankind.
The corporations may be Chinese, they may be Indian, they may be whatever else. It doesn't. If a body isn't based in one jurisdiction, how do you control it? If you have a body which has actually got bigger turnover and power than a state, which some of our corporations have, no single state can control it. Therefore, you have to find a way of having cooperation to control those forces, to give people that control, and that's going to have to be at a regional and a global level. Now, I wish I had the answer to that. There are other people who are better on doing it than me, but I think there's a danger that if we look for those solutions and we don't have them based in democracy, I think we may find ourselves, I'm not sure, we may not like what we find. I don't want to cede democracy at a community level and find myself living in a world where there isn't democracy at a global level, if I'm going to be shaped by global forces. Now, Unlock Democracy has got another job trying to deal with democracy in the United Kingdom and occasionally following into Europe. But ultimately, the challenge for those people who believe in human dignity for democratic power is going to be finding a solution to how we can have a democratic world. Now, that's not a mission which I am on at the moment. Anthony may take it on, please do. But I don't see the alternative.
But how are we going to have a democratic world with undemocratic global corporations in existence at all?
We managed to have a democratic.
You said smash the state. I'd say smash the global corporations.
How do you do that?
Equally as well. How do you smash the state? But I'd say equally as strongly. You know, if you just sort of take control of the state and still blown about by the winds of global corporate shenanigans.
I think you can transform the state. And the question, I use smash the state with a tongue-in-cheek bit. I think you can transform the state. You can decentralise the state. It may be for others to talk about, can you transform global corporations? To be honest, can you transform Tesco's? Because I live in a town where 60% of the economic activity in my town goes through Tesco's.
Yeah, I'm afraid I'm not too up on how Tesco's might be. I'm in the IT field, so I'd take an example like Microsoft.
Or Google.
And I'd recommend completely ditching Microsoft and going for open source solutions, which could be done now on a governmental level.
See,
But nothing's happening.
Actually, that's something where actually people can make a choice. Because, to be honest, I do know. Actually, I read somewhere that India is actually looking at open source software.
So is the European Union actually, but things could move a lot faster, and on a personal level you could move that way immediately.
but it was the European Union that took Microsoft on. In that case, it wasn't the local country. So
unfortunately, it barely dented them if at all. But
well, yeah, they took them on. That's the point.
And I'm glad of it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming, and thank you, Anthony.
Pleasure.
And thank you to Houseman's for hosting us.
So please buy the book.
And
Thank you.
always. And also, if you want, join on Long Democracy. We need you.
Have some refreshments.